Hello guys, today I'm going to be walking you on our weekly analysis. I've already made this and I send it to the VIP Discord group. So I'm going to be walking you through this analysis. All right. So first, all the analysis have been done on our various pairs. All of them are right here on the thread on the Discord. So I'm going to be opening each thread and then I'll walk you through what I saw, what I said, and exactly what I'm looking out for. Okay. So first, we're going to start with DXY. As you can see, we have this for DXY focus. So I'm going to be opening the thread now where we have, you can see it on the right here. So monthly chart, nothing different from what we have been expecting since the start of the month. The inversion fair value gap on the monthly got filled last week as forecasted. Now to have a clearer look. So this is the inversion gap where we had pointed out on the, I think a couple of 3 weeks ago now, I think. So price actually came up, filled the fair value gap, and here we are. We rejected a little bit out of it, but we still have a fair value gap here. So I'm gonna walk you. Let's go now down to the weekly time frame. All right. So now looking at the weekly time frame, let me delete my drawings. Okay. Now, weekly chart, if we see this as a CRT, which is as I told you about 3 weeks ago, we just got price delivered to the 50%, which is the first target. Below the 50%, we have a volume gap. We can expect a pushback. This is a pushback down to it before for the rally to the upside, targeting the candle range high, which has a fair value gap. So looking at it here, just from what I just read, you can see we have this fair value gap up here, and which is also standing above the CRT high. And then price delivered to the 50% of the CRT, which is normally our first target. Where if you bought from here, which was the inversion gap, your first target would have been the CRT high, and later on the CR high. All right, so which we have this fair value gap. So looking at this point, weekly time frame, we have this volume gap, which I think price would like to want to maybe trade back to it before we move higher. So with this, we're going to look at it on the daily, and then we'll see which PDRs we're going to have here that will support price to move higher. So going down to the daily chart, just below the volume gap that we spotted on the weekly, we have a daily fair value gap and potential CRT leading to it. So this gives us a valid zone to expect some bullish momentum from it. So looking at the daily chart, you can see that we have a CRT here, all right, this candle, and we have a very nice fair value gap right here. So there's a possibility price this week might fill that fair value gap, also validating the CRT, and from there we can then push higher to take out the CRT high on the weekly time frame. All right, so this is it on the daily chart. I think it looks really clear. I would love to see price trade onto this fair value gap before we move higher, and also we have this nice order block here. Okay, so let's see what the 4-hour has to do to show us now. 4-hour annotations on the chart. Now, if we open the 4-hour, you're going to notice something here. Very tricky. Now, we had price take out this internal range liquidity, filling this fair value gap. And remember the daily CRT high, and you can see how price closed after taking out the CRT high. So there's a possibility we're going to really step down lower here before we continue high. Now, if you're looking at this to be a range, then this is our internal range liquidity here, which price might want to take it. It hasn't yet. So maybe this is just a buy trap. And we actually like in an accumulation here, then you can have a manipulation to buy from there. So there are two possible zones that we can have price buying from. First is the daily fair value gap, and the second one is this nice order block on the 4-hour. This therefore shows that if price trades down to this point, we want to wait for confirmations. That's probably a change of state of the rule before we want to buy. If not, if the volume is too high, price might want to come right down to this order block before we see any buys coming from. So this pretty much is all that should be it for DXY, and yeah, that will be all for DXY. More updates as the week unfolds. All right, so this is all for the thread of DXY analysis. We're expecting more buys, but before then, we want to see price trade a little bit lower before it continues higher. Okay, so that will be all for the thread for DXY. Let's go now to that of Euro USD. All right, right? So this is a threat of Euro USD. Now, on the Euro USD monthly chart, this is what we have here. We have this inversion gap as well. It has not been filled. Remember, it got filled on DXY, so maybe there's possibility we're going to have a deeper push again down to that inversion gap before anything happens, right? Like price moving higher. So let's see how the weekly looks like. Now, classic CRT, same as DXY, and we have the soft spot on Euro USD based on the fib levels, and below the CRT we have a fair value gap as well. So this is what we have on the weekly. Okay, we have a volume gap on the weekly time frame, which is good. And remember this CRT as well that we saw on DXY, and below it also we also have a fair value gap. And putting our Fibonacci from this low to this high, we have this soft spot, which is the 618 and the 705 discount level. Price hasn't tapped into it yet. All right, and remember also the inversion gap we have here on the monthly. So there are a lot of reasons why price should trade lower, deep into this discount before actually pushing back higher, especially to take out the CRT low or fill this fair value gap, right? Okay, so that is it for the daily. We're going now down to the 4-hour. No, that's the weekly chart, right? Okay, that was the weekly chart. So now on the daily line chart looks good. So let's see on the daily, if we look at it based on the line chart, we had broken out of this resistance here. We had broken out of this resistance, this support level, and there's a possibility we might have a retest to continue lower, right? Just as the weekly was suggesting. And on the daily, it looks really good because we have this other block here, and the price might tap back to it, also retesting the support that got broken, and then we can have price pushing down first target to this no-wick candle and the weekly fair value gap that we have below this point. All right, that really looks good. So we're gonna see some bullishness before a bearish push to the downside. That is on the daily chart. So 4-hour chart, we can have price push up as it's going up to the daily. Then we can have price taking out this high, which is like our internal range liquidity high, before a further drop to the downside. You can even have a fair value gap here on the discount as well. Right, that's it for Euro USD, and good luck. So now let's move on to the next one, which is GBP USD. So let's open the trade for GBP USD now. GBP USD weekly charts. We have GBP USD accumulating for about a month now. So we're gonna have 1 to 4 weekly candles contracting. You can have that on accumulation, and there's a possibility this would have been our CRT, and then we can have a manipulation to the downside before a distribution higher. That's the weekly. And I think the daily, okay, that's for the daily time frame. And looking at it on the daily chart, yeah, we have this fair value gap right here. Okay, and even this breaker, so there's possible CRT, as you can see my annotations here. Remember, price took out an old high already, right? So which is and then we're now having a pullback. So this is our range, and that's our range high. So at least we're going down to the discount of it before any rally, and we have this nice fair value gap just sitting around the 50% of that range. So there's more possibility for lower prices with GU, and I think this is a good CRT, which means more shorts coming in from around this point. Okay, that is for the daily chart. Going down to the 4-hour, I think it's the same thing. All right, price had already taken out this high, and we closed below, giving us some sell confirmations, more lower prices on GBP USD. All right, so that will be all for cable. Good luck. Now let's move on to the next trade, which is going to be gold. Right, gold. Let's open gold and see. All right, so on the weekly chart on gold, we have price last week closing here in the bearish below this bullish candle, and a lot of momentum here in, so we can have price pull back a little bit because this confirms another block for us. And we have this breaker here, or this other block, you can call it that. You can have a retest and then a continuation to the downside. I think it will be more clearer if we go down to the daily. Now on the daily, beautiful, we have this mitigation block here where price can then take it out, fill it, then drop back down to this other block, which also has this fair value gap here. And also take note, we have this as a CRT. Okay, so CRT high taken out, filling this other block, and more continuation to the downside. Also, take note of this candles high. All right, that's a tip for you. 4-hour time frame. Nice. We have another block here. There are two zones on the 4-hour. There's a possibility we can get sell directly from this mitigation block, and there's a possibility we can come right here because of this volume gap. All right. So if we get confirmations here, we sell. We get confirmations here, we sell. If the volume is too high, we sell from here. If not, we get confirmations here. We're gonna short to go lower. That's for gold, and that is all for gold. Let's look at the next one, which is gonna be Bitcoin. Let's look at Bitcoin. All right. So Bitcoin, notice has changed that much. We are still looking at price clearing out all this trendline liquidity. Remember when we took out this buy, so we targeting these highs, and right now we're having some accumulation here. I think I better explain that here. All right. So looking deeply or closer, we have this accumulation. There's a possibility to get a manipulation lower to then have a distribution to the upside. Take note, this manipulation is happening into a weekly fair value gap. All right. And then let's see 4-hour chart. The accumulation is clean, and below this low we have this fair value gap, which is within the weekly fair value gap. All right. So we can get some confirmations to buy from there, and we target the all-time high. All right. So that's it for Bitcoin. Let's go now to US 100. Now, US 100, nothing special. Same thing. We got our buys from here, and the price is going back to the all-time high. And the previous week closed really bullish. We have this very nice other block here, so it can give us some pullbacks, maybe into this volume gap and this inversion gap here before any continuation to the upside to take out that high. All right, so let's see daily chart. Yeah, daily chart has a very nice fair value gap right here, which also has an inversion. And there's a possibility you can see also that the volume is dying down, so the price can tip into that, and then we drop lower back. So it's filling this volume gap, we're testing this high before further continuations to the upside. Okay, so that's for US 100. Let's look at GBP GPY. GBP GPY on the weekly chart, we can see that the price mitigated this other block. Remember, we are bearish, and we close below this candle. This is our potential CRT, meaning we want to see more continuations to the downside. All right. Looking at it on the daily, we have an inversion gap here plus a fair value gap. So a little pullback into that zone, we can have our continued sales. Price took out this inducement high. So more sales coming in on GBP GPY. So guys, this will be all for now. More updates as the week unfolds. Remember, you can get access to this VIP Discord. Just make sure that you join our WhatsApp group, or if you have an account with 10Trade prop firm or broker, just let me know. All right, get in touch with me, and I'm going to be adding you, especially into the 10Trade funded traders, where I send in setups on daily basis. All right, I send in setups on daily basis, and everyone gets to make money from it. All right, so just if you have an account with 10Trade, just make sure that you hit me up either on the comment sections or write me directly on WhatsApp or any other platform that you are watching this video from, and I'll make sure I add you up. All right, so guys, that will be all for today, and I wish you guys best of luck this week.